people will be like, hey, let's see if it's... Hey everybody, I think you might be hearing our audio. We're just getting ready to start.
Oh, we've got people, the chat right there is active right now. Right?
Yeah, but I'm concerned about this right here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everybody, Boone here. I am with James RITZMAN. Welcome. We are back for AFOL Spotlight Live.
Let's go! Climb aboard this proverbial Winnebago. We're talking about the awesome fans of Lego. So build your mock and shift it into drive. It's time for AFOL Spotlight Live.
Thank you all for joining us. James!
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm here on a YouTube stream now.
James,
you just can't shake me off. I'm like just a disease, right?
You shouldn't
I'm
say
stuck
disease.
No, I shouldn't. I'm something stuck to your shoe, right? You just can't get rid of me.
You're the first person to be in the studio for an AFOL Spotlight Live.
Well, because I wanted to be here because I've actually never been to your place. You've invited before. And I thought, well, yeah, and I thought a nice drive out to Troutdale sounds like the right move at 5 o'clock in the evening. So
All right, yeah. How was the drive?
It was good.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably a good thing you weren't going the other way.
This is true. It was a mess going the other way.
Yeah.
But no. I mean, in all honesty, I have genuinely wanted to come and visit you. So that's why I came out. And I thought it'd be nicer, maybe a little bit more, there's the whole social distance thing right now, and I'm like, I'd rather have social proximity when it comes to YouTube events. So.
Awesome. Yeah, well, here we are, everybody. Let's say hi to some people. We got Ben Kahn, Dave Morgan.
Hey, Ben. Hey, Dave.
Shadow Wolf 99, Will Nicholson,
Shadow Wolf 99.
Owens Bricks, DJ Marshmallow, Sheesh, 27 viewers right off the bat.
Sweet.
Well,
hey, Bob.
I'm sure
I see Bob.
We got Dallin, we got Celeste, LDK Creations. Thank you all for joining us. Holly's down there. Yeah, she said the same thing I did. Probably shouldn't mention disease.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
I'm like gum stuck to Boone's shoe. How's that? Is that better, Holly? All right.
So this is AFOL Spotlight Live. Of course, if you're joining us for the first time and you don't know what AFOL stands for, it's the adult fans of Lego. But we don't want to leave anyone out, so it could be all of the awesome fans of Lego out there. If you ever want to catch AFOL Spotlight live in the future, you can go to youtube.com/Boone Builds/live, and that should get you here at 6 p.m. Pacific on a Thursday night. And of course, I'd love to invite you to subscribe to Boone Builds and hit that bell notification if you want to get those notifications every time I publish a video. James.
Hey.
Where do you want to start? You've got some stories to tell us. You've got some stuff to show.
I do. I'm going to flip the script. I'm going to put you on. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Well, so we can only talk limited about Lego Masters. But last night, loved the show. It was probably the most intense, one with the most pressure behind it. And up to this point, okay, what's the first rule of the internet? Never read the comments, right?
Read the comments.
Okay. So I was reading some of the comments on your behalf, and I filtered some of them. So up until now, it seems everybody's been pro team bearded builders.
Yeah.
And then last night it was like there was this backlash, and then the Tyler and Amy fans came out and said that they'd gotten robbed. So now's your opportunity. I keep thinking that there was something in the competition that was missing as far as what the aesthetic requirements were, or there were things brought up about, okay, there's weight on somebody's bridge that's a different type of weight than somebody else's, and that has a different impact for the structure. Like I think when you showed yours, they had these actual rectangular weights,
right.
Whereas so do you have? Is there anything you can kind of provide on that?
Oh man, there's so much.
No,
it's good. Well, first of all, I should say that Mark and I would not have been surprised if Amy and Tyler had won that challenge and taken the golden brick.
Okay.
We were very pleased that we did. I think from our perspective, it was like 6 to 1, half a dozen to another. They could have gone either way, and it would have made perfect sense to us. So the comments about the look. Well, I'll go with the weights first.
Okay, yeah, the weights, there was definitely a difference in how some bridges were weighed and others.
The thing about that is we all started the same way, and only bridges that got past a certain point had to then take. So like if you take Sam and Jessica's build,
125, I think, and 145.
They're putting on the kettlebells in the middle, and as they're going, Will is giving instructions from the producers about how to set those kettlebells. We all started exactly the same way.
Okay.
And Aaron and Christian's build, I think, was kettlebells and then sandbags, and then their bridge failed.
Okay.
Well, both Amy and Tyler and Mark and my bridge, we started with the kettlebells in the center. We started with all the kettlebells, and then we added the sand. And when Tyler and Amy's bridge got to a point where they had to start using those big, giant bricks, we then had to pull off, or they had to pull off, sort of like the arrangement of weights that the teams who had gone before them put on, and then they started over with those big blocks. And we had to do the same thing. We started with the kettlebells in the middle, and then when we did a bunch of kettlebells, we got to sandbags. And then it was at the same point with Amy and Tyler, at the same point in adding weight where Amy and Tyler had to start adding those big blocks, we had to remove all of our weight and add the big blocks. So what you don't see in the edit is that every team, given that they could get a certain distance in weight, every team started with the same types of weight, started with roughly the same distribution. Now, obviously, like, the teams are putting their own weight on.
Right.
And
that wasn't controversial. I think it was the way the edits were, but that everybody went through the same escalation sequence.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way to put it.
And if you look at the picture of Amy and Tyler's bridge holding 1,000 pounds and Boone and Mark's bridge holding 1,000 pounds, the stack of weights is very similar. There's the same number of big metal things, whatever they were.
There's some name for it. I know what you're talking about, but it's basically just more weight compressed into a different shape.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have the same number. They're not stacked exactly the same, but they are stacked 3 wide. What do we got people saying?
Drew talking about my hands. And the reality is that we are both hand talkers, and it helps accentuate and enhance our arguments and our points and our rhetoric.
We could just
in your face, Drew.
We could just do the rest of the live stream.
This is true, and you're gonna like it. Is what's gonna happen. Okay, all right. So you're still no. This is great. This is actually this. So internet. This is what happened, and this is the clarification. So I mean, that's and I'm actually really happy to hear that because from a viewer's standpoint, I'm like, whoa, wait a second. There were some definite differences in how these are being weighted upon.
And the thing is the 1,000-pound bridges. It took so long to get up to 1,000 pounds that they had to edit that down, you know, like nobody's business, right? And then I've seen a little bit about the aesthetics of Amy and Tyler's bridge, and people said that their bridge looked much more beautiful than our bridge.
You're not supposed to read the comments. You know better than that.
I haven't. This is like people telling me about the comments they've read.
Okay, like me. Yeah.
And yeah, and what I would say about that is like they're just two very different styles.
Yeah.
We would not have been surprised if their bridge won based on its style. We were not surprised that our bridge won based on our style. We've got two Lego designers that have been living in Scandinavia for years.
Right.
And have that sense of like clean, sleek style, right? And one other thing.
So I'm gonna you hold on, put a pin in that for a second while I wave my finger at you. So this is what happens when you invite me into. If you're a YouTube guy, this is what happens when you invite me. I start interviewing you.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Good.
So
yeah.
How's it feel?
Oh, it's great.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay. Good.
On some level, I was ready for this at some point. I didn't know it was going to happen tonight with you in my garage. But,
all right.
And then the other thing I would say about the design, the aesthetic design, right? Because they were very clear from the beginning that there's the weight and then there's the aesthetics. And I would say, you know, that aesthetically, at first glance, they're just two very different bridges. And some people like this aesthetically better, some people like that aesthetically better. Another thing I would say about it is that Amy and Tyler's aesthetic was layered on to their structural bridge. That certainly is a choice that I will make in certain builds.
Yeah.
But our design aesthetic was baked into the structure of our bridge from the get-go. I don't know if that made a difference to the Brickmasters.
Well, in terms of, so I guess aesthetically, did they give any parameters as this is what we're looking for aesthetic-wise? Or is it just make it pretty and surprise us?
Yeah, you know, I do feel like I remember at least a mention of like some attention being paid to, does it look like a real bridge that could exist in the world?
Okay.
And I think on some level, all of the bridges did, you know, at varying degrees. But of course, you know, they could have got them with the vines and the butterflies, right? They could have, and it would have made perfect sense.
Yeah.
We were pleased that we won. I don't think it doesn't not make sense to us. When we were taping, they were able to say a little bit more than you see in the edit about what they liked about the, you know, it's sleek, it's futuristic, and honestly, I think our bridge looked worse on television than it did in real life.
So I remember,
and I think Amy and Tyler's bridge looked better on television than it did in real life.
We were watching live last night, and we're getting up to like 2 or 3 minutes to the hour, and we're sitting here and we're thinking they haven't even made the final decision. They haven't even finished weighing out, you know, the last bridges. You know, they're going to wrap this up pretty quick, and then it all seemed to wrap up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right. So, but this is very illuminating. This is very illuminating. And I have friends of mine that are trashing me, and I don't care. But it's illuminating because I wanted to have some ammo to be able to because I'm pro Team Beard. You know, I am biased.
Sure.
And I needed to find some kind of like, okay, there's something in the edit. There's something that we missed here as a viewer that skewed things. I guess I was surprised to see it's been so pro Team Beard out there. I think people really love your guys' teamwork and your attitudes. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they, you know, Team Amy and Tyler got robbed. I was like, I don't know about robbed. That seems a little bit strong.
Right.
But.
Yeah. And another thing is Amy and Tyler, nothing I've said is intended to knock Amy and Tyler.
Same
Their
here.
builds are beautiful. They know know that I support them, and
absolutely.
But their bridge had a presentation side and a side that was not a presentation side.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So the beautiful side of their bridge that everyone saw was the only side of their bridge that had that level of detail. Okay. Our bridge had the same level of detail on both sides. I don't know. So these are things that I'm putting out there, and it's all speculation on my part, right? Because
as the stakes get higher, where I think you're going to find as a viewer what you see on TV is going to become harder and harder to differentiate what's a master build. Remember what's the name of the program? It's Lego Masters.
Yeah.
What's a master build as opposed to a not quite so master build? It may be harder for us to pick those out as a viewer in the way that it's edited. So. At any rate, I did want to congratulate you, because ultimately that was where we got up. I'm like, our family was up and cheering. So my two kids.
Well, thank you.
No, yeah, I mean, we let my kids stay up, until 10 o'clock to watch this, and they were thrilled that Boone and Mark are doing so well, and that you got the golden brick, and it just there was a little bit of a there were some rumblings about maybe some. This was not that some other team was robbed, and I'm like, there's got to be some more to the story.
Yeah,
and I think so. Internet, he's explained why. Okay, the weighing was consistent for all the teams.
Yeah, you just
over a
certain see it in the edit.
And they probably honestly weren't expecting bridges to hold 1,000 pounds.
No, they were prepared.
Yeah.
At the point where you see Aaron and Christian adding sandbags, they had already surpassed productions. I don't know if I should say anything.
No, it's okay. No, I could tell, because they kept having. They said Will said at least 3 times. We're at 1,000 pounds. We can't do any more for safety. Yeah. I would imagine that the showrunners were probably actively consulting legal. This is me talking. This is not Boone. We're actively consulting legal as to, do we have a limit as to how much we can do? Because we didn't really bake that into the competition.
Yeah.
That's me speculating, but it's totally true.
Let's see. Anything in the comments? Bob Day says, friends? What does that mean? Before Lego Masters, what tournaments did you compete in? Who are you asking? Oh, me. Okay? We gotta save the Q&A until the end. But thank you so much for asking. We'll come back around on these things. Ask your questions in the chat when we get to Q&A.
Okay.
We are going to dive. Oh.
What are we going to dive into?
It's up to you.
Is it?
I guess.
That's right. This is up to me. This is the AFOL Spotlight Live as being hijacked by James RITZMAN. So this right here is a token of my recognition to you for your excellent sausage-related build. I'm sorry, hot dog related build from last week, which was most excellent. So yes, you're very welcome and very well deserved.
I appreciate it.
And I have your address now, so I can send you one of these shirts too. So you have an idea where you want to go, but I have an idea too. What do you want to do?
Well, I would love to do. Is your background story married with your show and tell, or are those two different things?
No.
All right, then we're gonna go to show and tell. It's time for show and tell, everybody. James RITZMAN, what do you have to show and what do you have to tell?
Okay, give me a second.
Oh, you should have done that while I went to the show and tell.
Oh, I should have. Okay, so this right here, if you're a child of the '80s, like Boone and myself, you probably had a poster of a Lamborghini Countach on your bedroom wall at some point.
I think mine was like a in the sleeve of a binder,
Oh, was it? So I think mine I got from the book fair. It would have had to have been elementary school book fair. So I last night I was watching the show and I saw the little the clip, cut away over to you as a 10-year-old with your Pinewood Derby car, and I was just tickled to death because, well, there are a couple of things here. I know this isn't quite Lego, but there's a Lego related story to this. So show your car too. Okay, so when did you build yours? How old were you?
I was 10.
Okay, so I was 8 when where are we here? Okay, I was 8 when I built my Lamborghini. Notice we both like black. We obviously build in black, and I was tickled to death because when I was a kid, I thought that my dad was the only one who'd ever come up with the idea of making fenders that rode over the wheel and extruded out. Because then you'd get kids that they'd have their wedges with the wheels sticking out. I'm like, so tell me a little bit about
You can look, if you look real closely, you can see this here is the standard issue Scout pine block, and you can see the lines on the edge of that. And so we used that, and then these wooden pieces were added to the outside of that block.
Right.
And the year before I made this, we did a DeLorean, and that was our first time doing wheel wells. So
so I had to find my car and share, and just kind of. So did you get a trophy or did you place in your Pinewood Derby? Do you remember?
This was actually so in the show last night. I talked about being beat by. So this was 3 years before this.
Okay.
I built a car that was my fastest. And I won first place in my pack.
Okay.
I won first place in my district, and I went to the regional jamboree, and I took fourth place to 3 cars that all had modifications that were outlawed at my pack and division.
Oh yeah.
At district.
Yeah. Okay.
So that I just touched on that brief story, but then this is the one that's showed in the pictures. That's actually 2 different cars.
Okay.
But this one didn't race very well, but it won best in show for my pack.
So that was in my pack. It was like a best in show.
Yeah.
Raced well. But yeah, that was what I got. And I'm actually impressed because it looks yours is much glossier than mine. So is this the first time that you used hand tools? Was that kind of because that's kind of the point of Pinewood Derby is to teach you how to use hand tools. It's to teach you how to. I've got someone saying they might want to turn the mic up a little bit.
Oh, we can do that.
Is that you guys need some more mic?
We could do.
My voice is a lower register, so I'll try and project.
And more. And I think we're sitting a little bit farther away to fit both of
okay.
us into the frame. So I've just turned us up a little bit. Let us know in the chat if you think that's better. So I remember, there was. My dad helped me carve the pieces, but I remember doing like the filing and the sanding, and it was like sanding and painting and sanding and painting and sanding and painting, and this thing looked like glass when it was brand new, and it's still got quite a shine on it, but it's 25 years old.
Well, I think what's interesting is looking at the parallels there because so there is a story, and it just brought this rush of memories back to me. So I made my Pinewood Derby car when I was first getting into Lego as a child. I know that our first big sets that we can remember, probably our most fondest, is the Black Seas Barracuda, which you've got yours up here.
Mine's up there.
And so I kept thinking, back to that time, and I'm like, oh wow. And then it all came full circle. So I have been telling people up until this point that me getting out of my dark ages was about 10 years ago, and I realized. It actually wasn't. It was before that. So let's go into our time machine back to around 2008, and I happened to find myself in charge of. I was an assistant Cub master for a Cub Scout pack, and I was there. I did it for about a year, and as we were running a Pinewood Derby, and they'd asked for my help. And so if you're helping run a Pinewood Derby, you say to yourself, well, I've also got to contribute a car. And so I pulled this out of my old Weeblos box from when I was 8, and said, I should make a new one. And the Speed Racer movie had just come out. So hold on, I'll grab the other one. So I decided I was just going to make this Speed Racer Pinewood Derby car, and I remember saying to myself, this is missing a driver. There's got to be something that I can find that would fit for this. So I went to a Fred Meyer and found. You can actually jump right over. I found this Grand Prix race Speed Racer kit just sitting in the Home and Garden. It was on clearance, like 75% off.
Yeah.
And I looked at it. I hadn't bought a Lego set in probably 15, 16 years. And I said, hey, I could use that little minifig. That would work perfect to ride in my car. So that's actually the first set I ever bought out of my dark ages. And I think I ended up using some blue tack so that he'd actually sit into it.
Right.
And then we ran the Pinewood Derby. And so it was... Yeah, I don't know how illuminating a story that is, but I just think it's interesting how that came full circle in kind of this weird way. And then I saw that last night, and I thought to myself, wait a second, there's some parallels there, which I think are really interesting. So, anyway, ended up making a Mach 5. I love Speed Racer as a kid.
It's a beautiful car.
I love the movie. I love the sets, and I remember getting this. And thinking wow, that's better than I remember Lego being.
Yeah.
I think I got disinterested in Lego around the late, mid to late 90s, early aughts, wasn't really a lot coming out that was really interesting. And then Speed Racer came out, and I thought, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
So there we go. That was my first set purchased out of my dark ages. And then I didn't come out of my full Lego closet, or full AFOL closet, I guess, until 2000. What, 2000? No. 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think 2015 was the first Bricks Cascade you attended, right?
Well, I had been
as a public, or you still you?
I think I was still just coming as public in 15.
Okay.
Because Charlie, yeah, that was it. Okay, so here's a strange thing with me and Bricks Cascade.
All right.
Is my second daughter's birthday is almost always like the same weekend or right around the same weekend, and she was born in 2015. Okay. And so I certainly was not. I had been as a public attendee, a public visitor in 2014.
Sure. Right.
And I wanted to come as as a builder in 2015, but we were literally like, just days out of the hospital, right? And so the only reason I was able to even come for public that year is because it made sense for me to take the 4-year-old out of the house for a few hours to do something.
Gotcha.
So Jordy, my older daughter, and I took the Max down to the convention center, and we went in for public. But
that sounds very similar to Jordy and my daughter are only a year apart, and when she was little, my wife worked a lot of weekends.
Oh yeah.
And I remember just scanning for things to do, and I attended the 2014 and maybe even 2013 Bricks Cascade. But same exact thing. I'm like, I need something to do. Oh, hey, here we go. Take the Max from Beaverton Transit Center downtown. Yeah. Spend a day. Look at okay, we got to go for nap time pretty soon. But it was a great way to get out with my kid.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to other AFOLs who have discovered Bricks Cascade, have had similar types of experiences, which has been really neat.
Yeah, awesome, cool. All right,
so that's that story.
Should we look at the slides?
Yeah, we can look at the slides.
We can.
And also, I saw in the comments your Speed Racer was extremely underrated. That is, have you seen the Wachowski brothers movie?
No, I remember when it came out.
Okay,
but I never saw it.
It's worth a revisit. It's just bonkers and just nuts, but it's super fun. So anyway, in effect, I came out of my dark ages, 2008, and I started buying sets on my own. And then everything just isolated on my own, not really, I think my wife suspected something because she'd come home from work and I would have maybe picked up a set that was on clearance, and I'd be just building like a Star Destroyer or something like that. And she'd be like, okay, what's going on here? There's got to be something, it's okay. I know we've got a newborn, but there's this weird arrested development thing going on. And I didn't actually join a lug or participate in any public events until really 2016 is when I first participated. And this is something that I built leading up to Bricks Cascade 2016. And that was a lot of fun. So this was inspired by my wife's and my trips overseas. Particularly, we'd gone to Rio de Janeiro a few times. And my wife wanted to get in on the fun, and so she built the hotel. So if you go to the next picture, kind of show you the technique that we used here. So the pick-a-brick wall at the Lego store had these cheese wedges, and you can even tell here it gets. Well, let me tell you. So the technique is stacking them on their edges, and then I'm simulating the same Portuguese stone that they have on this walkway down in Rio. It's supposed to look like these waves that are doing that. So it's kind of this black and white alternating look. So we basically that stacked edge mosaic, which was a lot of fun. So notice that my cheese wedges in white are predominantly 1x2s, and I guess it'd be 2x1. 1x2s, and then the black are 1x1s because that's what the store had. So trying to stack a 1x2 on edge and then 2 1x1s on their edges and kind of mushing them together. There's hours, just hours of painstaking, just misery, involved in this. But you can kind of see some of how we did it. I say we because my wife helped me out. We built this trough and then kind of pushed it all into the edge, pushed it all in together. So, yeah, that was my first big mock. It was a lot of fun to do that, and it was inspired by something that we found, that we both loved, and it was very tedious, but I still have it.
Awesome. I remember seeing that. I want to go back because you see the carpet here. So that was the one
Upstairs.
year
Mm-hmm.
the convention was upstairs, and I remember I remember this mock being at the very end of the table at the front of the room.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
I don't think it was right by the doors, but it was it was really easy to see.
Yeah, it had great placement, and you can see the Speed Champions cars there on the street. So I didn't even use mocks for the cars, and I think that even the Coast Guard helicopter was a last minute addition from someone else. That might have been JJ now that I think about it. I can see Olaf there, that he may have popped into it. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun to build, and it was relaxing. And you know how it is, how it gets here in the Pacific Northwest. Winter, it's kind of crappy outside, and just to build something bright and colorful, it was just a real nice way to kind of get through January and February.
Yeah. Cass says, was this at the Beaverton Bricks and Minifigs at one point?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, he says, the walking path looks familiar, and I remember being super impressed. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, should we see what's next?
Yeah.
We've got...
This was a fun one. So, and something I've loved about watching Lego Masters has been listening to the judges' feedback. Gosh, I wish we could hear all of it, because not only for context, but also just to hear all the things that they're looking for. And one of the themes that keeps coming up is story. And so the story behind this is much like... so we have Dutch Bros, which is a coffee chain in Oregon, Pacific Northwest. And so in Legoville or Brick City or whatever you want to call it, their coffee chain is, of course, Clutch Bros. So we tell that story to everyone who will listen to us. And so Clutch Bros is like the Octan, in that it's the monopoly coffee company throughout the entire Brick City. So the goal at some point is to have every coffee stand, coffee supplier be somehow Clutch Bros. That would be the official one, but we're still working on that. Okay. That was one I was proud of. I thought it turned out really well. It's funny, I got these photos taken, and you can see that there are some parts that I hadn't finished swapping out. So on the roof, I still have I have the earth blue as well as the bright blue.
Yeah.
Because I just hadn't actually gotten a chance to swap the things out. But it does it some justice, so it was fun.
Is one of the posts like angled?
Yeah, that's another problem.
On the right?
Yeah, it wasn't deliberate. I've since fixed that.
So yeah. I think that's really interesting, because one time we went through it. We call it Dutch Brothers. Do most people call it Dutch Bros?
That's interesting. Yeah. Somebody told me one time it's Dutch Bros, and it just stuck.
Okay.
I suspect it's probably like a lot of words we just kind of
So we were on vacation once with our tent trailer behind us.
Oh, okay.
And we went through the drive-through.
Did you knock it?
And nailed one of the.
Okay.
It was. I'll say I wasn't driving. I won't throw the person who was driving under the bus. But so that stuck out to me, and it was funny. And it reminds me of.
No, this is really actually, and going back to it, I think my wife actually almost dropped this. We were at BrickCon. I'd taken it up there, and I was gone, or maybe it was my wife, or maybe it was somebody. May have been Will. Actually, I think Will is fessing up to it here in the comments. So yeah, and that's probably part of why it's a little disrupted. But I just wanted to kind of illustrate, hey, here's something a little different that I built, using 2 base plates by 2 base plates, and then playing with the way that the building is situated, as opposed to modulars, which are just so square. Being able to set things off at an angle just added a little bit of interest.
Okay.
I think, and so that was part of why I liked it, and plus the pun on the name, and then the story that comes with it.
Yeah, when I saw the name, I think the first time I saw this was at Rose City Comic Con.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. The Clutch
Bros.
Bros.
Oh, Clutch Brothers, yeah.
Nice.
Actually, I do like Clutch Brothers. That'd be a really cool Lego Masters team nickname.
Oh, we should have been.
We're the Clutch Brothers.
Yeah, we're the Clutch Brothers.
Yeah, and then this photo, I brought this one out. So what's part of what I've really enjoyed about the Lego hobby has been developing good relationships with other groups. So here in the Portland area, there is a train museum called the Oregon Rail Heritage Foundation, and ORF has been a great partner with the local Lego community. They've invited us several times to display, and it's a really unique opportunity because it's a working museum where they're actively rebuilding and refurbishing steam engines and diesels for that matter. And so, to get this, be able to bring in and do a display right there with these steam engines behind you, or just really overlooking you, is a really cool experience. And I wouldn't consider myself a huge train guy, but I do enjoy, most of my stuff is town, so it fits really well into what my interests are. And, we've been able to, me and some friends, and, I look at these, part of the reason I brought this up was I look at this photo compared to maybe photos of me from 7-8 years ago, and maybe it's just me and like my wife, we don't have friends around us, and so this gives me a constant reminder that the relationships that I've gained or built out of the hobby that's number one.
Wow.
That's paramount to me.
Wow. That's awesome. I'm so glad you can say that. I go to conventions and I meet new people, and I hope that people find that kind of thing. And whether it's, if it's not with me, I hope it's with someone. And it's good that
I think you nailed it. Am I talking too much?
No.
Okay. I think you nailed it. If it's, as long, it may not be with me, it may be with someone else. If it's, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't have to be everybody's best friend. I know I'm not to everybody's taste, but I may not be, but I don't have to be. It's if you're facilitating a space where people can develop relationships, then that's what's important.
Oh, Ben Kahn says, we love you, James. What do we got here?
This is more from our ORF display. I'm trying to remember why I brought this particular one out. Oh, I wanted to call attention. Have you seen Alan Smith's campground?
Oh yeah, that's been evolving for years.
Yeah,
right? It's really
it was interesting. I wish I'd brought more pictures of it, but I think it was a 10-year project.
Wow.
And I remember just this past January, leading up into Cascade, he said, my vision has been realized. I'm ready to move on.
Wow.
And it was so interesting. I'm just like, this hasn't gotten the recognition that it almost deserves. It's this. It was stunning. The how large it's gotten, and how beautiful, and how much attention to detail is in there. And then looking at that through kind of Lego Masters and thinking, Alan's got stories all over this build, and it's just fantastic. So I wanted to give a shout out to him. Alan Smith developed Bricksmith. For those that don't know what Bricksmith is. Basically, it's the LPub application, or it reads LPub files for Apple, Apple OS.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, we don't. This is just more of the same. So this is another photo this is one of my favorite moments as an AFOL. So we had done this train show together, and you can see in this group, right? It's not as important who's here. We've got Ben, we've got JJ, we've got Andy. I think Davey Olson actually took the picture.
Okay.
Myself, Alan, and so after a day at this show, we said, well, what should we do now? Well, naturally, we should just go to the Lego store. So we went to the Lego store, and then the 5 or 6 of us, we huddled around the Build a Minifig bar for the good part of 45 minutes to an hour, and just came up with as many amusing combinations of minifig heads that we could, and started creating like stories about them. I think it was predominantly like using the sailor torsos and putting in like funny heads and hats and stuff, and it was just. There was just this moment where I'm like, okay, I'm standing around a Build a Minifig bar. We've effectively blocked everybody else out, and I don't really care. I'm having the time of my life, and we were just laughing, and we were just laughing and laughing and laughing at all the funny things that we came up with. And you can see here, this is where the hairs on my arm kind of stands up on end, because I say, man, that's just a gift, to be able to share that with people. And I think it's play. That's what Lego is about. It's play, and it was just so fun to be playing with other friends, and that's something that Davey actually captured at that time. So that one always just tickles me, because I just remember that being so bizarre. And if I couldn't explain it to anybody else, but if you explain it to an AFOL, they kind of say, Yeah. I get that. I get that. I understand that.
Justin Keller says, Boone, you took the time to talk to me at Brick World Chicago, and I really appreciate it. Didn't know you at all. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just those experiences. I found a picture of Samuel Hatmaker from Lego Masters from Brick World Chicago last year on the day we met, and he's holding one of my retro space blasters.
Space blaster.
You know, and I would never have remembered I took that picture, and neither of us had any idea what we were going to be doing, 5 months later, and the way that our lives were going to change. But when I found that picture, I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
To like have that moment, that memory, and then to like know how our relationship has developed since then. It's really cool to think about.
It's hard for, I mean, it's. I don't know if you have a similar experience, and I know this may end up like tuning out some of your viewers. So having kids was not. It was such a change for me because I'd gone to college, and then I did all the right things and all the stuff, but I seemed to lose these groups of friends along the way as we made. Okay, once you go into married life, okay, well, we lose the single friends. Okay, once you have kids, okay, we lose the friends without kids. Or I wasn't the type that was going to go, on stroller meetups with the other moms, because my wife is a working mom as well. I found parenthood to be really isolating, to be honest, and so being able to connect with my kids through play helped, and then being able to connect through to other adults through play has also. I mean, it's been a life changer. And it's interesting talking to you because I'm like, dude, your life is like completely changed.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
So I'm sitting here saying like, hey, I have friends, my life has changed, but to me that's compared to where I was 6 or 7 years ago. I'm thrilled that happened. Yeah. I mean, your life is like, dude, your life's completely changed.
Weird. It's so weird. Oh man.
All right. Yay! I've changed. I have friends now. Okay, so I brought this one up for comparison. Bricks Cascade last year. This was my Harbor collab. And then, so the idea, I found a niche. I don't feel like I'm a great individual builder, but I do like the idea of play with friends, play with others. I do like I love that idea. And so I came up, hey, let's try and do a collaborative where other people don't necessarily, they can bring what fits into that theme. So I went to high school in a pretty small coastal town, and so I'm just here on the Oregon coast, and so this kind of resonated to me. I thought, what would like a sleepy fishing community look like, and so this is where the open collab, and it wasn't particularly impressive. But then let's jump over to the next one. This is this was this year. This was so much fun to coordinate, to be the ringleader on, whatever you want to call it. It's one of those things where, I mean, the sum of what's the sum was great. The end result was greater than the sum of its parts.
Right.
Had people that wanted to participate, that wanted to bring in builds that fit into this crazy harbor collaborative, and it was great. So I started a Facebook group. I encouraged people to. I even sponsored my own trophies for it. I said, I'm going to sponsor my own trophies and prizes because
that's awesome.
That way I'll get people that'll want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things
you even gave out some boat hulls at the end of last year.
I did. Yeah.
And I have one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it was one of it was probably one of 10 MOCs on a list that never got done before this Bricks Cascade.
Because
I had an idea.
Oh yeah,
and I was in love with it.
And no pressure, but I think hopefully this, hopefully what we see, what the difference that a year makes, and then what difference could another year beyond that make?
Yeah.
And even this year at the event, I had half a dozen people, Lego Masters, a rep from Lego, Sina Larson, who was there, say something to me to the effect of, wow, a lot of people build together here. We don't see that other places that we go. And I remember saying, well, oh, that's kind of weird. I mean, building together, that's kind of the fun.
Yeah,
I think that's where almost the craziest story ideas kind of come out of.
Right.
And so that was something that they found that was unique, and I think hopefully we're setting a, you know, we're setting kind of I don't know what I'm trying to say. We're trying
setting a precedent.
Precedent. There we go. There's
yeah. I agree, and you know, it's crazy because for me, building together isn't necessarily my default because it's so easy to just come out here and build by myself. But I feel like there is a certain energy that comes from sharing ideas with other people and collaborating, the synergy, the, you know, it's greater than the sum of its parts thing that you mentioned. And so much of that comes out of like working with other people. Like, I can't tell you how excited I get when I pitch an idea out and not everybody grabs a hold of it, but when Perry Wang grabs a hold of my idea, I know it's a good idea. And I'm like, okay, we're doing this one because Perry thinks it's a good idea and we're going to do it. And then it's like, then we just start, you know, we'll get together for dinner and be like, all right, take out the pad and paper and what are we going to do? What's this thing going to have? And then like Ewok Adventureland this year, we got to the convention and like, you know, it already had Richard and Flynn, who we did not anticipate originally helping us. And they created like, you know, 25 to 35% of the build in, you know, a visually kind of appealing way, right? Mm-hmm. They did the whole sign and the spinning thing. And
oh, wow.
And then
I didn't realize that.
Samuel Hatmaker came and helped us do some stuff because I had a disaster the night before and I spent more of my like detail time rebuilding stuff that had already been built. And so he came over and he was doing a bunch of minifigure stuff. And the stuff that people would point out with the minifigures were Samuel. And Mark came over and we knew he was going to help us with details at the convention center. Mike Johnson and his wife Sarah helped us at the very last minute build the structural thing that like saved us when like it wasn't all going to work right. And so then it just became this thing that was like, it was way bigger than we ever could have hoped for or imagined from like a collaborative standpoint, right?
And and you brought up Perry's name, and that's somebody who I think of, you know, it's almost synonymous with collaborative,
right?
And he is particularly with the post-apoc theme. He's just got this knack for removing barriers to entry,
right?
And that was another thing I thought about. Particularly with that, they created a standard that was very simple, and regardless of whether you were a brand new AFOL or whether you were, you know, you have experience with Lego for decades, whether you're new to MOC building or whether everything you do is MOC building, it didn't matter. You could jump in and you could get right into it.
Right.
And that to me, that's the spirit of collaboration.
Yeah.
I think if you can really remove those barriers to entry and encourage more people to be involved.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, total shout out, and that to me, that was, I think this was the first year that they did the bunker collab, I believe. Okay, but they've done other ones like that before.
Right.
You had your Dupocalypse the one year.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Again, very simple. Here's some guidelines to get started, and then go with it. Have fun.
Yeah.
And you were probably surprised at what, I wouldn't say surprised. You were probably pleasantly surprised at what came out of it, or what you saw.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of people getting involved, there are currently 51 concurrent video viewers on this live stream. This is the first time AFOL Spotlight Live has broke 50. Is concurrent the right word?
Yeah, concurrently, yes. Yeah. So this is basically you get me involved and you start breaking records.
So I'll just shout out some people. We got Holly, we got Perry Wayne, we got Caitlin Hooper is watching, Lori Bryant, Dave Morgan's still here. Perry, I thought you were going to be busy tonight. Perry's in the live chat.
Well,
we're talking about him.
His ears were burning because we were,
We've got Ukulele Kid, and some other people. Claire Foster, Cody Otley, boop. Awesome. Thank you all for joining us. This is great. Okay, what do we got next? Let's.
Yeah, so we talked about collabs. I thought that was a great conversation. So I do build. I mean, and I don't consider myself a top tier builder, but I think this kind of broke. I broke through a few of my own insecurities about building with this. I found some really fun details that I found some really good techniques that I came up with. One was this crab pot right here that uses the Oh, parabolic ring. Uses parabolic ring and droid arms in black to make this little crab pot. And I stuffed a sea lion into it because that's the story. You know, they've accidentally, accidentally caught a sea lion. And then I researched crabbing vessels to try to understand all the winches and the different booms and things that they have. The outriggers.
You have that here.
Yeah, I do.
Why don't you show it to us?
Bring it up. Yeah. It's probably has a little more detail on it too. I'll pop out a frame real quick. So yeah, in fact, I just got selected for an award. I was pretty pleased. I had a lot of people just compliment me on it. I thought
it's awesome.
Yeah,
well, the details are beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah,
what award?
One of the Town and Train best Town and Train awards.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I love it.
And that put that into the Harbor collab, and I hope trying to set a precedent for it's one thing to organize something, it's another thing to actually put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
So I was very honored.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make an announcement right now. We're gonna go over tonight. We're gonna run long. I hope you don't mind staying a little after 7 p.m.
So we're going long because because I probably talk too much.
No, you don't talk too much.
Right.
You know, I heard people have said while I talk about this, we're just gonna look at a few more of these pictures here. But people have said, like some guests want to be able to talk a lot. Some guests are not going to talk a lot,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
And I think I heard someone say something about Carson. The reason Johnny Carson was such a good. I'm not comparing myself to the best late night show host ever. But it's just a sentiment that Johnny Carson was such a good host because he could let people who were good at talking talk.
Oh yeah.
And he could bring out the best of people who didn't want to talk.
Yeah, that's actually He had the gift of gab. But it wasn't just the gift of gab. It was like you said. It was getting. I mean, Letterman was the same too. Just an amazing interviewer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can talk till the cows come home. So I will.
Okay. I want to get to
yeah.
Q&A, so let's just lightning round these last pictures. Can we do that?
Sure. Yeah. Jurassic Park Visitor Center. It was a build of mine. This has been going back to collabs. This has been so much fun. Getting and inviting people that want to play dinosaur, and the whole story behind this is the 6th island of the Islands of Death.
Okay.
It's the Sausage Island or Isla Chorizo, appropriately, and it would be as if essentially did Jurassic Park actually survive, and it's still a thriving, growing amusement park. One of the saddest things about Jurassic World was that all of the interesting elements of a theme park were destroyed by the end of it.
Oh man.
The whole Main Street, the shops, the new visitor center, the monorail. It's like they destroyed it all by the end of the day, and it's like, oh man. So this has been fun to see evolve and to see people getting involved. So evolution and involvement from the community has been, I would say, I've been very pleased and happy to see that.
That's wonderful.
And it's not just like a particular showrunner, but it's to have somebody that, it's not that I say that I can't take sole credit because I was involved, but then there are other people who've gotten it and run with it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun with it.
And its first iteration was Bricks Cascade 2019.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And where it's gone since then is nuts. Yeah. I mean, it's like the Harbor, but even more, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing. Okay, let's see. I think
a lot
I
of fun with that.
back.
A lot of
the
fun.
The visitor center is beautiful.
Yeah, my goal was to make the best, most accurate visitor center that I could find.
Is there a visitor center official set?
No.
Because I've got a thought in my mind that it is tied to when you were first working on the visitor center, and I don't know what it was, but it's like if there's an iconic building in Jurassic Park, it's the visitor center.
Yeah.
Like, how has there not been an official set? And you made this. I will go back. You just made this beautiful. It's amazing.
It's only half of it. And it's only the front half. But yeah, and I've got plans for the back half, and we'll have a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
It's just going to get bigger and better.
Really quickly, I got to shout out Elizabeth A. and Jeff McElwee. for each giving a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. We will answer your question first when we get to the Q&A here in just a moment.
Yeah, money. I mean, money talks, guys. So if you want your question answered, you've got to pony up.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the cult. Okay, so it's an elaborate joke, and the way so within. Okay, this goes back to this. All right, so the backstory, and the shirt and all that. The backstory is that. When the Lego movie was released, okay, they had the first wave of sets and then the second wave. The second wave of sets came with the actual double-decker couch, and Benny the Spaceman is carrying a sausage for absolutely no reason. There's absolutely zero reason for that, and so a couple of people and I just thought this was the funniest thing that there ever was, and so we wanted to incorporate sausages into builds. Well, little did we know that we've actually kind of, I don't know if the Lego group is actually trolling us or if we've somehow trolled them, but you look like the sausages that they put hot dogs into sets for absolutely no reason.
Well, maybe it's like we were doing the same things with our Pinewood Derby cars at the same time without knowing it.
Yeah,
because there's creative universe
right
is channeling us all in the same direction.
There's something, and so there's also to a certain degree. So anyway, so that's the origin behind it, and then so these are tokens of recognition. And so that's where I just thought it would be amusing to create this little group that recognized the frequent usage of hot dogs in your builds.
Awesome. And
so that's where it comes from. And you and Mark, I mean, that was probably the best tribute I could possibly have ever asked for. And so, I mean, yeah, you guys are like honorary sausage members. I mean, it was just great. And then Ben even makes a note. He's right. If you look at statistically the inclusion of sausages and hot dogs into Lego sets, it's just skyrocketed. Like you could almost see this trend, and then boom, it just goes up for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
I brought this one. This was our Scareback trip, and one of my other fond memories of friends and sorting. You know, something that if you'd asked me literally 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said. Sitting around and sorting with people. Yeah. That's ridiculous. And then here we are just having a nice evening together, eating cookies and, having a little bit of drink here and there and just enjoying sorting and trading and talking Lego. It's just, that's been one of my favorite, that is my favorite thing about the hobby. Number one.
Awesome.
Okay. So I found this while I was going through my files. This is my initial sketch for the convention theme this year.
Wow.
And I said, oh, okay. And I remember I sketched it out when I was at work, knew what I wanted it to look like, and we ran with it. That was the theme was Brick City, and then we wanted it to be a play on Rip City from the Blazers. And I thought, oh, hey, I found this. So this is, if anybody asks, I came up with the idea. No. But we had Corey Kinnick, who's one of the lug members here, had a great, really just did a really cool design for that, and I think we had a really good image that we were able to share this year. I don't know if you've got. I didn't bring any stickers for you. I'll bring you stickers next time. I'll put those in the mail.
Oh, Brick City?
Yeah, did you get Brick City
cool.
stickers?
No.
Okay,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I made up a bunch of water bottle stickers.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, I meant to show you my water bottle. That's why I don't have one, because I never came and showed you my water bottle.
Oh,
that was the thing, right?
Oh,
you made an announcement.
Yeah,
you were like, come and show me your water bottle. I'll give you the water bottle sticker.
Yeah. And this, so going back to the convention, I know a lot of people here are attended.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean,
no social distancing there, but no.
But it's good. It's good. It happened when it did, right? If it had been a week or two later.
I don't know how much I want to speculate.
Okay.
I'm very happy with that group of. I mean, look how many people are pleased, had a great time.
Yeah.
Willing to line up for a photo.
Yeah.
We had 507, I think was the final registered count. So yeah, it was a really, and not just that. I mean, but the quality of the builds were just. If you had any role in judging, or it was hard.
Yeah.
There were some great builds this year.
Yeah. It's just unbelievable.
Just unbelievable. Yeah,
I really look forward to what I kept being blown away by was the number of people who had never been to Bricks Cascade before, who were just astounding builders, like legendary people from around the United States, from Canada, people who've never. These people that I recognize from online because I've seen their stuff or I've seen them engaging the community, and so many new people like that came to Bricks Cascade for their first time this year. And it makes me really excited for those people to go back to where they're from or to be talking online, or when it's time for us to be getting ready for the convention next year. I'm really excited about how that's going to affect who else comes for the first time. And that's just the ones I know, right? I mean, how many do I not know of that were exactly the same way, right?
The one that struck me was, I mean, not just names, but where they're from. Like a lot of East Coast, Midwest.
Right.
I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
East Coast, you've got Brick Fair, or you've got in Virginia, you've got Brick World in Chicago. And that's essentially it as far as the recognized AFOL networking events.
Yeah.
And so for them to make the West Coast trip, I'm like, oh wow, this is special. There's something special going on here. Yeah.
I hope they left feeling that way. My sense is they did.
I hope so too.
And I think we'll see next year. Anyway.
Well, I mean, expectations were definitely high. I think we met and or surpassed, and then. But we also made some mistakes that we'll have to. It's always okay. What can we do for a course correction? And there are a few things that, when you have more people, you've got more personalities and more things to be careful of. I'm being really vague here, but it's just little course corrections. But I believe that the committee and the organizers are dedicated to that. I think that's something that they don't want to lose sight of. Those are Davy Jones's lockers.
It's Davy Jones's lockers.
That was going to be a trophy, and then I realized how much Davy Jones was worth on the aftermarket.
Really?
Yeah, on the aftermarket, it's like a $75 fig.
Whoa! Wow!
And I'm like, I'm not giving that to anybody.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love it.
So,
and then
you wanted my headshot, I thought. So you got the Lego one, and you've got this Lego, and you've got this headshot.
Oh, you didn't want it in the presentation.
Well, there we go. I mean, it can be there.
Hey, what do you say we
Q&A?
Go to Q&A.
Okay.
Everybody, it is time for Q&A. This is AFOL Q&A with Boone Langston and James RITZMAN. Put those questions in the chat. We're going to look out for them, but we are going back to our super chats. We've got Elizabeth A. Best methods for large mock base plate layers and support. So if you're building I think the question is you're building a large mock.
Yep. Base
plate, layers, support. What are the best methods?
That's a good question. So this is a question for me or for us?
I think it's a question for either of us.
I'm not the person to ask.
Yeah. Listen.
Oh no, that's not true. You can answer it. I do have an answer for that.
Yeah, I would just say if you want to build up fast, use some Duplo. If you want things to be stuck together, overlap those seams. You don't want any seams lining up. And if you watch on just Lego Masters last night, if you think about the bridge road beds as your base plate or whatever. The reason the bridges that held 1,000 pounds is because bricks and plates were just layered and layered and layered and layered. Mm-hmm. And the more connection points you can get, and the more you can get, this seam not lining up with this seam, stagger those seams, and you're going to have something strong.
Yeah, that's a brick right there. Stagger the seams. That's almost exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You don't... And when you're looking at, we're talking plates. We're not talking necessarily the base plates that Lego produces. Right. Those don't tend to have as much clutch. Mm-hmm. You have to be careful with those as your base layer because stuff can peel off of them really well. So but then if you have overlapping, stagger the seams. That's a good one. That's a brick.
Yeah. Lots of layers. Thank you, Elizabeth A. Yeah. Appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you,
McElwee.
McElwee, that's a good way to say it. Jeff, thanks for the $2. I appreciate it. It'll help us keep this chat going.
Come on, folks.
Well, you don't have a question. So,
listen,
Jeff, if you put a question in there, we'll get to it.
Yeah, listen.
All right, let's see.
This is the record. Listen, where I go, records get broken. We need some more chicken for Mr. Langston here. Miss James, if you could adopt any AFOL as a dependent, who and why? Wow.
Perry has the best questions.
That's actually a really good question. If I could adopt any AFOL, so the question is, if you could adopt any AFOL as a dependent, who and what? So dependent in what sense? Like, is it a dependent with our own apartment, or? And I'm just, I'm assuming I can adopt them and still claim them as a dependent for tax purposes. But as long as they're financially independent, then obviously it would be Perry Wang, because that'd be great. Yeah, I'll just use you as a tax write-off, Perry. Thanks, buddy.
Can I make this dependent sort like I do with my 8-year-old? But if it's like an AFOL,
that would almost be the criteria.
Yeah.
That almost be like, it's like, I will show you my fatherly love in exchange for.
I just imagined, like, if I don't have any rooms left in my house, but I do have a closet.
Oh yeah.
And if I could just put David Geddes in a tiny room and just like open up the door and see David Geddes in there every now and then and just get a little, funny something from him.
That's really
that would be good. And make him sort the rest of the time.
Hey, look, Cody just hooked you up. Hey, Cody, you're the man.
Holy moly, Cody Ali. Oh yeah, I've been meaning. Cody Ali said, "Boone, when you gonna call me?" LOL. Cody
for an interview, right?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
For I can't say. I don't know if I can say. Cody, good question. Can you send me an email with all the details, please? And thank you for your $10. Biggest super chat that AFOL Spotlight Live has ever received in the live chat.
Yeah, so Cody, Cody's a great guy. I think Cody was unprepared for weekend, James, when we had our After Dark event at Cascade. Okay. So hey, Cody, I'm really sorry that I exposed you to the weekend version of me. I will try to give you some forewarning next time. That was probably a little more than you were expecting.
Okay. Anyway, Cody, thanks for the $10. Send me an email, please. Boone@boonebuilds.com, and just give me like bullet points of like all the details you threw at me verbally at the convention, and so that I can like show that to my wife and chew on it, and then I'll get right back to you.
There's a good one from Henry. What are your guys' favorite MOCs, either made by you or somebody else's?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Jeez, that's a tough one.
Okay, so I get this. I've gotten this question before, and I kind of tack it onto the question like, who are your favorite MOC builders besides yourself?
Yeah.
And mine pretty like I always go back to Paul Hetherington and Jake Sadovich, because almost anything either of those guys build, I'm just immediately in love with. And so, Paul's the new one he had at the convention this year was that Tiki Madness, and he's got all these little moving things, and they're subtle, and they're all run off of one motor. Yeah. If you knew, and he's just got these little techniques in there that are like, geez, how does this guy think of these things? And using the Luke Skywalker construction chest piece upside down as the nose of the Tiki face, it was like. And then he's got the music, and I know that's a good thing to do. It brings the thing alive, but his music was perfect. And then Jake had that flippin' the motorcycle. I think it was like an Outlander motorcycle.
Was it the post-apoc one? It wasn't not the Outlander. That's
I don't know what Outlander means. I just mean okay. I just mean like
it's a okay.
I just mean like dirt road apocalypse.
Yeah. Mad Max-esque.
Mad Max-ish.
There we go. Yeah.
And that thing and the details and the details and the parts usage that he works into his builds are just, they blow me away. And his new ideas set that just dropped the other day. and when you look at it, it doesn't even look like Lego. And if that thing doesn't get 10,000, I'm going to be very surprised.
I think I've said a couple. I don't consider myself to be a great builder, and part of why is because I tend to build to a scale, minifig scale, town and train, vehicles, buildings, etc. I'm pretty narrowly focused, and then I look at someone like, say, a Jake or a Paul Hetherington that builds these. Scale to them is irrelevant.
Right.
They can jump in and out. It's not always centered around, say, like a minifig or, say, a profession or something.
Right.
That's where I'm like, wow, that's way beyond. I haven't even delved into that, and that's I think that would be my like I see like full size things that you build, and
it inspires me, and I try, and I love Jake really. I think it was Sadovich that really inspired me, and when I went to Billund the last time I was there, I was in the Loplet looking at like, okay, what are the weird non-minifig characters or figures that I can get my hands on that I've never seen before, and try to like build some, because he just a lot of times Jake will start like have a what do you call it, like he'll have a part or a figure that's sort of
a seed part?
seed part, right?
Part.
And anyway, but so I love to do that stuff. I don't think I'm as good as he is, at least maybe not in some ways. But did you have an answer? Did you have your own answer for that question?
So one that it's somebody who I follow on Flickr. I've never met the builder in real life before. He goes by Hachiroku. So HACHIROKU, and I believe he's a Japanese builder, but I don't know anything else about him other than that his MOCs are typically vehicles and such from pop culture. He'll do vehicles from the Mad Max series or Grand Theft Auto or the Orca from Jaws, and everything is just so polished and beautifully built that to me I was wow. I mean, he came up with a great use for that part, and I love his. And the thing that it gets even better is that he YouTubes his builds, his instructions, like every single thing that he builds. So he's super generous to the community and like almost under the radar as well.
Wow.
No idea who the guy is.
Yeah.
I'd love to meet him someday.
Write that down for me if you will.
Yeah. I'll make sure. And I don't know if you want to put it in your comments or post something, but Hachiroku, and it may even be like Hachiroku 74.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
If you're watching the replay, you'll have the link in the description.
Yeah.
The folks watching live won't have it right now, but it'll be in the replay. Will Hafner is paying us $4.20 to answer the question, which theme is better and why, Galador or Bionicle?
I like Bionicle. I really do. I really do. So I didn't grow up in the Bionicle, like, I didn't grow up in that generation where it was so meaningful to me. But there's some really incredible builds that come out of that, and I like the universe building behind it. So I like Bionicle. I really do. I think it gets under. I think it gets kind of some unfair criticism sometimes.
I really like Bionicle pieces. I will often. I'm going to sneak out here for a second.
Yeah.
I will often use Bionicle pieces.
Yeah. I've taken over, so I'm the only person here now. See you.
I will often use Bionicle pieces for like adding some detail.
There we go. Thanks, Will.
Some interesting detail. But something about Galador is just like so, like, I don't know. It's just like so ridiculously awesome to me, and I don't know why. I remember when this stuff came out. I remember it being on the shelves. And I didn't have any money because I was like, I was like a broke teenager, and I was like, I'm sure I felt it was 02?
02, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So it was the year I graduated from high school. I was like, I was spending my money on gas and stuff for my car. And but I remember being like, oh man, I'm not a kid anymore, but I really want these because they're really rad. And the ship, I just think the ship is so cool. I don't see it. It's around here somewhere. But anyway, it's hard for me to answer because I haven't, Galador is one of those things that I've been wanting to do something creative with Galador for a number of years. And so it's kind of always on my mind. Whereas Bionicle, Bricks and Minifigs has a Bionicle table, and I will often go to the Bionicle table at Bricks and Minifigs to grab parts for detail. I'm not a Bionicle builder per se, but I definitely appreciate that system, and I appreciate the detailed parts.
There's some of the parts from Bionicle, or I should say, were originally released in Bionicle and have made their way into system sets. There's the spiky kind of curved. And that's you can use that as vegetation. You can use it as a spiky vine. In Bionicle, it was actually, I didn't realize this until I was looking for it. I ended up using that on the front of my Jurassic Park Visitor Center as the spine of the dinosaur fossil.
Right, yeah.
And the listing in Bricklink was very, very light bluish gray. I thought, that's interesting. I didn't realize that was an actual color. Very, very light bluish gray. So it's not quite white. So it doesn't quite, but so it ended up working perfectly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so that was Will Hafner's question. Thank you very much for the super chat, Will. I think it's sounding like between us, maybe we're leaning a little more Bionicle. Like if we had to choose between Bionicle and because his question is, which is better?
I mean, you seem pretty passionate about Galador. I can't knock that. That's I mean.
Well, I guess he answered the question, and we can each answer.
Yeah,
so you can say Galador, or you can say Bionicle, and I'll say Galador.
I'll say Galador. Yeah. So
but just barely.
It's a split.
Sorry, we're split.
We're split, Will.
All right, what else we got here? J Productions, what's your favorite thing to build, Boone? I love kind of retro sci-fi stuff. So I've got like rocket ships and flying saucers and life-size ray guns that are kind of inspired by that type of thing. Anything that is like, yesterday's future. I love that sort of style of stuff.
It's interesting that you bring that up. My favorite themes in recent years have been the Hidden Side, which is out right now, and then the Alien Conquest theme. And both of those, interestingly enough, they take a lot from turn-of-the-century sci-fi. So H.G. Wells, H.P. Lovecraft, very, very similar types of aesthetics. And for some reason, I just gravitate to those, like as far as the themes that LEGO has released. And I've noticed that you kind of have a retro, almost like retro 60s sci-fi. Wouldn't you almost say? Like when it comes to your blasters and the... So anyway, just an observation.
What?
I don't know if there's necessarily a correlation, but it's more that you've got like a certain era in sci-fi that speaks to you, and me it's like this love, or turn of the century Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, War of the Worlds type of stuff. That was what Alien Conquest.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Hidden Side is taken liberally from H.P. Lovecraft. They even put references in there. I think on their official site they actually claim it's supposed to be like somewhere in the antebellum South, but it's definitely like an East Coast, like East Coast New England type of coastal town.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the themes that I love end up getting canceled. So, so I'm basically the kiss of death when it comes to like a Lego theme.
Man. Caitlin,
Hidden Side is awesome. It is. Have you messed with those at all? Have you seen?
I love how they look. So I haven't messed with them.
Okay, they're just anyway.
The bus.
Oh yeah.
Do you have them?
I have almost every one. Yeah. I love them. Just such a great theme.
Caitlin Hooper says, if you had to build a monotone build, monotone? Do you mean monochrome? What color brick would you use, and what would you build? Ooh. Oh, so we have to pick one color of brick.
Yeah. What
color would it be, and what's the MOC?
Wow. Man, that's a tough. Dark Azure, I know is my favorite Lego color. Love Dark Azure. I don't think it gets enough. The light Azure, or just say medium Azure, by itself can be kind of ugly, but sometimes when it's paired with other things in the right context, it works. But if I had like Dark Azure and could do a Nathan Sawaya type of build, like sculptural brick type of build, that's what I would do. I would take Dark Azure, and what would I do it of? It'd have to be something kind of artsy, like somebody. Well, he's already done the ripping open the chest, but I don't know. Maybe mine would be doing something else amusing.
Ripping open the butt.
Ripping open. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go. Yeah. Just laying one out. Could be saying, I probably, actually, that's probably is what I'd do. Put this finger up. That's what I do.
No.
It'd be a finger up the nose.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, it'd be like a Nathan Sawaya build. With the finger up the nose. It'd be the thinker, and he just put right in there.
Oh man. Okay. Goodness gracious, I have to answer that question. This is the first thing that popped into my mind. Bright light orange. No, bright light yellow. Bright light orange.
Butter yellow or bright light
I think it's bright light orange. It's a lot of the yellow submarine is that it's bright light orange.
Yes, bright light orange. Right.
Or some people call it Chima yellow.
Yep.
And I would build like some sort of cosplay, like a helmet and like pauldrons and like a chest, or maybe I don't know, something like that. And so it could all be the same color if I wore it over like a contrasting like uniform or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That would pair. Actually, that color pairs really nicely with, say, like earth blue or
or sand green.
Sand green, which is the sorry, who's that?
Well, we call him Brick Rogers.
Brick Rogers, right. Yeah, Brick Rogers, which is the kind of the '60s era, '60s aesthetic.
Yeah. LDK Creations, $10.
Thanks, LDK.
And no question.
Is that?
Thank you.
I think I know who LD. Is that? He must be the guy who. Is that Henry Pinto? I think it's Henry Pinto. Maybe. Sorry if I'm misattributing. I see in your little icon you've got that Sentinel from the X-Men, and I've seen that on AFOLs before, and it's fantastic. It's one of my favorite builds. It's just bonkers how good it is. So if that is your creation, great job, and thank you for supporting Boone with your money.
Thank you very much. And his question, assuming it's a he, said, did you build something out of your comfort zone? So I'm going to guess, are you asking for Lego Masters? But I think you should be able to, you could answer this question too if you ever had one.
For you, like, what have you had to build so far that's been out of your comfort zone?
Yeah.
There's sculpture, there's architecture, there's structural.
Before Lego Masters, I had never really done sculptural before. And on the third challenge, where we had it was the cut in half with the laptop, and we had our blogger, and up on his little tiny desk at the top of the tower, he had a golden frog on his desk, and it was intended to be it was the Golden Frog Blog Award or something, you know what I mean? And so I wanted to build that frog out of, to be the one-to-one counterpart of the minifig version, and I sculpted this little frog, and it wasn't perfect, but I loved it, and I was like, oh, I love this thing, and then it was the very next week that I did the land shark, and that was not as clean a sculpture, but it definitely was sculpting in a way that I'd never done before.
Okay. Yeah.
This sort of like organic creature shape. So that was out of my comfort zone, and I was pleased with how it turned out.
It was interesting watching that show, and I remember that one of the edits that they put in there was you saying to Mark, "So how does this look?" He said, "Oh yeah, it looks great," and then moving on. But then, I was thinking like, hey, it seemed like something you'd never really done quite before.
Right.
And here he said, here, you work on this and you figured it out, and it looked really cool.
Okay, good.
It looked really cool.
I think the land shark looked better on TV than it did in real life. I think it looked cool in real life, but to me it still looked very rough.
Kind of like this mug, It's like my face. Yeah, definitely looks much better on TV than I saw this, somebody else. I think Elizabeth again asked me a question. This
has definitely turned into pay money and get your questions answered. Elizabeth, thank you very much. $2 canceled theme. Did you answer the question about building outside your comfort zone?
No, because I don't.
Okay.
I mean, I should. So that's my goal for this year, is to build something out of my comfort zone.
Elizabeth asks, canceled theme you'd bring back if you could.
Ooh, I know. What's yours? I can answer if you need a second to think about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Alien Conquest was a city sub-theme, but I think at the time it was even like technically the space theme at the time.
Okay.
And I know there's not much more you can do with giant alien warships from space like invading cities.
Yeah.
But I I just love that theme. And I know that I looked afterwards. So Mark Stafford was one of the lead designers on that. And there were so many cool Easter eggs in the theme itself. And they even had an entire second wave planned. It never made it to production.
Oh,
and
wow.
so he actually released some of his sketches for some of the different alien defense unit, vehicles and ships and things, and what some of the other aliens could look like. They did give it a bit of a second life because there was the alien kind of like king, and then they released the alien queen and some follow-up collectible minifig series. But then after that, it was done. And I loved that theme. I loved the UFOs. I loved like the big walker things. Something like that, or even just like a second wave would be great. You know, Agents ended up coming back as Ultra Agents a few years later. I'm still holding out hope that Alien Conquest could have like a re-invasion or something.
Yeah, so I think, for years and years people said classic space, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've now seen, I feel like we've seen enough we got Benny's spaceship, we got the squad from Lego Movie 2, there's been other little things here and there, and I think that it has settled down a little bit, like, people aren't still saying classic space, give us classic space, you know what I mean?
Oh,
but
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think Blacktron, like, I think it's clear that enough people loved Blacktron, and we've started seeing those little somethings. So I'd love to see some new iteration of Blacktron
with preferably with a monorail.
Yeah, with a monorail.
With a monorail.
Yep, Blacktron.
I think Molly keeps hoping that I'll say monorail. Yeah.
Sponge Brick says, so Boone, what was your favorite build you made on Lego Masters so far? Pop's food carts. We just loved it. We had so much fun with it. I will always, we've got a special place in our heart for Timbertown. Yeah. But it didn't work. So
it's dead to me.
Let's see. Are there other? I'm looking for other questions. If you ask a question, could you put a question mark? Ben Con says monorail. I love monorail.
So
love it.
Not to spoil, but so Jurassic Park is still it's still living and breathing. It's still evolving. I think some monorail will be making an appearance next year. Yeah, that's my plan. And it's interesting, that was monorail peak early 90s probably. I think it was only a few years.
It was 87 to 95 or 96.
Yeah. So
that
was probably those were probably the sets that I saw on the back of the little booklet, and always said, "Man, I wish I could get one of those."
Yeah.
But I never did.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. But then, like, I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, man, this is really cool. Why did they? Now I'm thinking that it's like I'm late to the party. Like everybody else is already known for a long time. That monorail was awesome.
Here's the thing. Here's one of the things that I think I've always loved about it, but I haven't known why. And it wasn't until Jamie Berard in episode 1 of Lego Masters, they had that little aside right before the commercial where they talked about monorail.
Yeah.
And he said that because of the gear mechanism on that like rail gear, it can go up and down hills. And they're like, trains can't do that. And that never even occurred to me.
Yeah.
But so we played around with that a lot in Ewok Adventureland, and I did that like doubling the loop around where there's 2 monorail pieces that are designed to go up like 1 level, and I think it's 10 bricks,
right?
A 10 brick level. But if you attach, which it's not really designed to do, but if you attach the quarter circle to a quarter circle to a quarter circle to a quarter circle, you've got a full circle, and if you keep going and then just stretch it out a little bit, you can raise height by going around the circle.
Yeah.
And it was very forgiving. And then over here,
and it's like a cog train, so it's geared in, so or locked in through the gear, so it's actually going to ascend.
It's going to ascend. Yeah. And then on the other side, we had some very uneven terrain, and I just kind of laid the monorail down over there, and it if you've got a long enough stretch, you can kind of make it fudge a little bit to like not quite the brick height or stud that it's supposed to be on,
right?
And get we had sort of like this loop that was almost like I don't know, just like cocked up onto its side a little bit, and because of that, the way the cogs work on the underside of the monorail, it can do it. It doesn't have any trouble.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. It's it's one of the few things in Lego that you can fudge with.
Right.
You know, you don't have to get it dialed in exactly.
Yeah.
And whereas things that are based on, you know, I mean, I love the new roller coaster tracks, but if you're trying to get something to run consistently, you know, friction's against you, gravity's against you, and you're just fussing with it the entire time.
We Bricks Cascade, Ewok Adventureland, we were babysitting the roller coaster all weekend long, and of course we had a new idea for the way to raise the roller coaster, so that was finicky. But you know, we were able to keep it running by babysitting it. We were able to turn on that monorail in the morning before public came and let it run until the late hours when people were leaving, and we never had to touch it. It just went and went and went. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. Monorail seems, at least for what we're trying to do, particularly for public expos and displays, people gravitate to that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're kind of like, people love it. That's almost why we're so, because people love to see it, and it moves, and it movement catches attention, and anyway.
Oh, Will Nicholson says, what's your white whale set?
Ooh.
We still have 50 viewers watching live. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
I keep getting the sense that like we need to wrap this thing up at some point. And
do we keep going? I mean, I've got time.
Let's answer this question, and then we'll gauge.
Question.
Yeah. So our question to you
asking
is:
us questions.
Should we keep going for? Let's say, should we go until? I mean, maybe 7:30 would be a good time to cut it off. But Will, I'm sorry, said, "What's your white whale set?" Do you have one?
Yes. Basically, any of the first release of the Lego Pirates. I was one of 5 kids, and I brought my Black Seas Barracuda to show.
You want me to get the box?
Yeah. In fact, if you guys, I brought this in. Yeah, go ahead and grab it. So basically, any pirate set from that first wave that is not the Black Seas Barracuda. I brought this to share because I knew that I still have the box. It's in very good condition. This was, how old was I? Probably 7 or 8.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
It was that Christmas. I think this was on a lot of kids' Christmas lists that year. And so the Eldorado Fortress that accompanied the Clipper. What do they call it? The Caribbean Clipper?
Yeah. This came out first.
This came out first.
This came out in '89, and I think the Eldorado Fortress came out in '90.
Yes.
I could be wrong, but they were very, in the catalogs, they were very much.
Yeah. I probably have the. Actually, I probably literally have a catalog in here. Give me 1 second. Let me open up this pristine box.
While he's showing you that, I don't have the original box to my Black Seas Barracuda, but I do have. Where is it?
Yeah, do you want to see?
I do have the cover of the box.
Ooh.
So, I've got a piece of it, and I actually just came across this at my folks' house like 2 years ago, and it was at the bottom of a giant box, and everything else in the box was junk, but this was
incredible
down there.
I thought I might have it. I don't think I do. But yeah, so that's kind of a convoluted way of saying all the pirate sets. Those are my white whales. I never got all of them. I wish I had. This guy right here. This was like the one. This was the kit. So, okay. I think part of the reason that this was so memorable was, so Christmas Day, right? You go downstairs. I remember being devastated because there were no boxes that looked like what I was expecting this to look like.
Oh.
With my name on it. And of course, you go down first and you're checking under the tree and it's like, oh man, I got robbed. So,
like Amy and Tyler.
Yeah. So Santa. So what happened is one of my gifts was this sketch pad because I love to draw and I still do. And my mom said, oh, you should open up the first page and see what's there. And I opened up the first page and Santa had written in very, very nice penmanship, Merry Christmas to James, for an extra special surprise, look in the vacuum closet. And I remember going, so I got up and I looked in the vacuum closet, and that's where I pulled this box out. It was like Christmas Story-esque, where the actual Red Ryder BB gun has been, it's over. Oh, look over there in the corner. It was the same trick. Totally fell for it.
That's amazing.
And yeah, love this. I played with this played with this every day. Very, very fond memories of this set.
I don't know if I have a white whale set.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's like I have a job, so there are no white whale sets anymore.
That's the crazy thing is like I in my life, I'm a collector. I love the pursuit of things that are interesting. I love, getting things. And then I get them and I put them on a shelf and I realize how few people care about seeing them. Mm-hmm. And then I start to run out of space. And then I think, like I could probably live without this thing and go, in search of some other things. And so I have had I've had to sort of cultivate the appreciation for things and the letting go of things, and I see things and they are with me for a season of my life, and it's okay when they pass on. And so I'd say I've had some white whale sets, and I have some of them. The Galaxy Explorer from 1979 is over there, and that I would say that was one of my white whale sets. The Galactic. Whoa, no, that one's sitting right there. I can't remember what it's called.
Is that the Galaxy Explorer?
No, that's the Galaxy Explorer.
That's the Galaxy Explorer.
That's the Cosmic Fleet Voyager was another one of my white whales. And I have them both, and it'll be okay if I don't have them forever. And that's an easy way for me to segue into, if you're in downtown Gresham and you ever go to a place called Foxtrot Vintage, I now have a booth there, and it is part like vintage toys and part Lego and just other kitschy stuff. And that is part of I can have things for a time. Oh, this is the way I put it when I started kind of grappling with this stuff. If I'm going to own everything, I at least don't need to own it all at the same time.
that's pretty.
So
that's pretty profound.
And that's another thing. That's part of the reason I started my YouTube channel was like, it's I can experience this stuff, I can catalog this stuff, I can have the memories, and then I can let the thing live on with someone else. And don't get me wrong, I still have tons of stuff, and I could stand to get rid of a lot more. But part of having the booth in downtown Gresham at Foxtrot Vintage. I'll say it as many times as I can.
So it's Foxtrot Vintage in downtown Gresham. Boone has a booth.
And if you walk in there and you don't know which booth is mine, you need to go get your eyes checked across the street.
So this is is it like a consignment store?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a miniature. It's like a miniature antique mall.
Okay, and do you have to be there present, or is there somebody?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got this booth. Somebody picks something off, and they pay. Oh yeah, this is Boone's, and they get a cut. You get a cut. Okay.
And I've wanted to own a toy store for years and years and years and years, and I never have. And this is like a little piece of that.
Gosh, owning a toy store.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be great.
Oh, that'd be a whole nother.
Interesting.
We need to come back after not too long so we can hash out some of these little conversations that we nibbled at.
Well, yeah, I almost had an opportunity. Actually, there was my parents live in Newport on the coast.
Oh,
and there's this gentleman who was selling his toy store. It's called Sandcastle Toys, little small boutique store. And he went to all the toy conventions, and it was very popular because he just decided he wanted to retire, and he ended up selling it. And I can't remember what the asking price was, but it was one of those. That'd be interesting. I better not bring that up to the missus. But
oh man, all right. Let's see.
We losing people. We might be losing. We're losing a little bit. But I'm enjoying this quite a bit. We should do. But it's up to you.
Let me see what's going on with my family. I should No.
Yeah, I'll totally go check and see what's going on with my family too.
My kids are probably
everything looks fine.
Danny's probably put my kids in bed by now without me.
Oh.
So now it's like we could do this until midnight if we want.
It's true. Yeah, you guys want to? Oh wait. You know what I want to do? I actually do. Bring me over for. I would love to come over for. You do a Black Friday thing, don't you?
The 24-hour live stream.
Yeah.
For Beyond the Brick.
Yeah.
I didn't do it this last year.
Okay.
Because I was. Indisposed.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I would enjoy immensely being at least like part of that.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could do the whole 24 hours. Probably not. I'd be interesting after about like 18, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'd start. You'd lose interest in me, but then you'd have to almost check in for like the final 2 hours and just see like how far off the rails have I gone.
The thing about it though is almost everyone who does it gets to that point.
Oh,
and it's just there. It gets to this point where we're all loopy, and it's late enough at night that it's daytime hours in Denmark, and we can start having the set designers on, and then everyone's interested in them for a few hours, and then we can like rally for like the last few hours. You know.
So you do 24 hours straight. You don't really. Jeez.
I didn't in 2019, but I did in 18 and I did in 17.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know what I'll be doing in November of 2020, and I don't know if I think John and Joshua asked someone else. I think they asked Matt to be the person that
I mean, just like I mean, not out of slight.
No, they knew. Okay. No, they knew I wasn't going to be available for the 24 hours.
Oh, gotcha. For this 2019 one.
For 2019.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you said that they had already found somebody for 2020. Like, well,
no.
Okay, all right.
So we'll see. We'll see if they, and I think there certainly are people who join that live stream, and they're not necessarily the people that the Hanlons have asked to commit to 24 hours.
Gotcha. But
they are there for almost the entire 24 hours.
Well, so. I'll tell you what. Let's wrap up. But I told you we needed to do a duet.
Oh yeah. Okay. What are we gonna do?
I mean, maybe we should throw that out there. I see that's the problem. I don't know songs, but I can harmonize. You want to do like we should do like our own custom song.
Oh, our own custom song.
So Boone and James, finally on Boone Builds together in the studio. I mean, there's got to be something like that. I put you on the spot.
Oh no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, everything you see me sing on Lego Masters is because Will Arnett put me on the spot, and I had to make something of immediately. So it's like How about James and Boone singing a tune on AFOL Spotlight Live? So can you come?
So James and Boone singing a tune on AFOL Spotlight Live.
Yeah, except tune is singing a tune on AFOL Spotlight Live. One more time?
Yeah.
James and Boone singing a tune on AFOL Spotlight Live. You got the melody? Can you sing the melody and I'll harmonize?
I could harmonize. Actually, yeah. Okay, so let's try it again. James and Boone. Okay. That's it. Yeah, I can probably split off with a harmony. Actually, I'll do the James and Boone singing a tune on AFOL Spotlight Live. Okay, I'm going low. I'm going low this time. You do melody.
Okay. James and Boone singing a tune on AFOL Spotlight Live. Yes. Okay, I think that's good. Oh, thank you all for watching. Something collapsed under the table just now.
It's all right.
It is time to go. Watch next Thursday. We're going to have Perry Wang on. We've talked about him a lot. We'll talk about Bricks Cascade some more. We'll talk about the Ewok Adventureland. It's going to be awesome. James,
this has been a blast.
Thank you so. Oh yeah, we got the whole thing. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope that it won't be too long before I get to bring you back here again.
Congratulations on your record-setting night.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Where I come, good things happen.
Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe, and we will see you next time. And we go to...
Let's go!
Thank you.
Climb aboard this proverbial Winnebago.
This is what I thought.
We're talking about